And welcome back to another NBA Sesh. Avi, it feels like we took a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, we definitely weren't here for a couple weeks, but one of our videos went semi-viral at 70K views
Nice on Instagram.
on Instagram. Shout out to all the new followers, brick by brick.
Hmm.
I really appreciate every single one of them.
So you know what I like about what you said? Most people will be like, "Oh, come on, you guys are starting out, you're new. What are you celebrating for? Just because you got a few more followers, and you got 70,000 views? Oh, big deal." Listen, that's the whole point. Basketball I love basketball because basketball is a motivating sport, right? It motivates people even if they're not professional basketball players. They correlate basketball to their everyday life. And you have to celebrate little victories, and no matter what you do. And I think that's very important. And I think that's the key in the road to success. Moving on. Free agency. I think we should just open up with free. Oh, before I continue with that, just like Avi said, shout out to all the followers and thank you. And please, if you guys, are watching this, subscribe to our channels and like our content. But anyway, I want to open up with free agency.
Wait, I was just gonna say something
Yeah,
else.
go ahead.
I also love trying to respond to all the comments. We got like what over 150 comments on that video,
Right.
and I love responding to all of them, even if they're negative comments, because number one, especially when people like say, "Oh, it's a bad take," or "This is the dumbest thing I ever heard," but like they don't also provide like their own opinion, so it's kind of hard to you know debate with them. But either way, I love that, and you know, like you said, every follower counts, and
Oh
especially
yeah.
in the beginning.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you this: the negative people that are saying this is a stupid take. Okay, fine, that's their opinion, but they say, "Oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. They shouldn't even do this." Right. So we have a few comments that say that. Yet we have what almost 5,000 likes, let's say, on one video. That means that's how many people agree with us, right? So the point of what I'm trying to say is that if anybody else out there wants to do something special and you have negative people trying to put you down, don't let it. Don't let the negative, because the negative people speak a little louder sometimes. But there is so much quiet support. You have no idea. So you should never let the naysayers get in the way of that and do what you want to do. Okay. I
Very
think
motivational.
very motivational. I think we're ready to move on, and I want to talk about free agency. And I guess let's talk about the most recent news about free agency, and that's Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard finally requested a trade. It's about time. I get he was trying to be loyal, but I have a feeling this is going to still backfire on him. He's still going to be hated when he goes back to Portland because now I think it is getting a little ugly. He's saying he's not going to play for anybody except for Miami. And the Blazers are thinking like, well, we're not going to limit, you know, just Miami because why trade Dame Lillard for second rounders? Like, what does Miami have to offer? I'm sure there's some first rounders in there that they could
Tyler
offer.
Hero and maybe a couple
Yeah,
picks.
exactly. So they have to get the best possible return for Dame Lillard, and I don't blame them. Okay, what do you think about that?
Yeah, they owe him a lot because he was loyal, but they kind of repaid him with his loyalty by giving him that super
Super
max
max. Yeah,
extension that he's gonna be getting paid almost $50 million a year, and he's like 33 or
yeah,
34.
exactly.
So yeah, they shouldn't just give him up for nothing. And at the same time, I also don't want Miami to get him, but I don't. I want him going anywhere but Miami. But yeah,
Well, yeah.
they should get as many picks and young players in return as possible. Why not?
So the thing with Miami is they went to the finals. They were shorthanded. If they had Damian Lillard on that team, they could have potentially beaten the Denver Nuggets, right? Um, However, they did lose out on Gabe Vincent. They did lose out on some key players. So getting Dame, especially they're going to have to trade pieces to get Dame. So whatever they give away and get back, getting Dame back, would that be enough to win? That's a question all on its own. However, I do agree with you. I don't want Miami as a Knick fan, as Knick fans, we don't want Miami to get Damian Lillard. But listen, just because he wants to play in Miami doesn't mean he will actually play in Miami. We have a history of people demanding a trade, well, asking for a trade, wanting to go somewhere, like Donovan Mitchell wanted to go to the Knicks. He ended up in Cleveland. Uh, Kevin Garnett's a good example. Back in the early 2000s, he wanted to leave the Timberwolves and he wanted to play. Where did he want to play? He didn't want to play in Boston. That I know. He wanted to play somewhere else. I forget where he wanted to play. But he ended up getting traded to Boston. He really didn't want to go to Boston. Next thing you know, he loves it there. He wins a championship there, and now Boston retired his number. He's forever, his heart is in Boston. So you never know, right? Dame Lillard wants to go to Miami. Who knows? He can end up anywhere else. I think, and we spoke about this before off the camera, that the New York Knicks actually have a lot of assets to
Yeah.
offer. But you don't hear the Knicks in the conversations. And I think it's because of a gentleman named Jalen Brunson. I don't think Jalen Brunson wants to play with Damian Lillard because he's the floor general. He needs to have the ball in his hands, and he's not going to want to share that power with Damian Lillard. What are your thoughts? He ran away from Luka Doncic, I think.
Yeah, as much as I want to see Dame in New York, I don't want to disrupt that growth that Jalen Brunson is having. He's like a perennial he's definitely an all-star, even though he wasn't technically voted in. But he could even be like a superstar. That's the way he's playing. He's having exponential growth. And I'm super excited to see him play next year. And then having two shooters like that and two point guards of that similar caliber. Of course, Dame is such a great shooter. In the backcourt, they're short. They don't, the defense is not the strongest suit. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna actually work out well for the Knicks. And we're not just saying this because we're Knicks fans, but they really do have the most assets in terms of young pieces and draft picks.
Yeah.
The only other team that has just as much as draft picks that could actually swing for Lillard is the Celtics. Because every other team, like the Utah Jazz, they called the Trailblazers, but they're not gonna.
What do they need him for? He's an aging point guard.
Well, why would they want him? Like, he's not gonna bring them anywhere.
Well, that's exactly why I don't want the Knicks to get him. Because not only, you're right, I love the growth of the team. I like that we're finally building from the ground up. Jalen Brunson was brilliant in the Miami series. I felt like it was the Miami Heat versus Jalen Brunson. That's how it seemed at times. He was really carrying our team for us. I'm proud that he gave us 2 wins out of a 6-game series. It would have been embarrassing to get no wins or even 1 win. 2 was great. And I want to see what else we can do with that core, adding more. And by getting Damian Lillard, first of all, he's an aging point guard. Who knows how many good years he has left? And he's very expensive, $50 million a year. And how much are we going to have to give up to get him? I don't want to blow up the team, right? So, yeah, Dame Lillard, we'll see where he ends up. But speaking of disgruntled stars, how about James Harden with the 76ers? Before I even get to where he might go, what's up with James Harden? Right? Like, I feel like James Harden was awesome when he was in Oklahoma City, and then he gets traded to Houston. His time in Houston, he was great. But ever since he forced his way out of Houston, he was never the same, right? He went to Brooklyn. He wasn't happy there. Fine. I get it. But you see, Kevin Durant was going to stick it out in Brooklyn with Kyrie, right? Until Kyrie got traded. What's James Harden's problem? Fine, he finally goes to Philly. Another good team with another star like Embiid. Doesn't work out. Now he wants out again. It's like, what's up with these players, right?
Yeah, I don't know why he just wants to run away. This is definitely not a good look. for him, considering that he didn't really perform well in that last series versus Celtics, right? Especially that last game. Him and Embiid both flopped. Now, I don't know what that's an interesting thing. I think the Philly is better off keeping him now because if they lose him,
I'm
where
sure
would
they want to keep him actually.
yeah, because if they're not able to keep him, I guarantee you Embiid asks for a trade, and then they're gonna just have to blow it up. But where would he even go? Let's say if they
Well,
did
he's
trade
linked to
him.
the Clippers.
Oh, the Clippers. And well, they could actually get back Terrence Mann, who's has potential. He's like a shooting
Didn't
guard.
the Clippers keep that thought? But didn't the Clippers blow up their team, give away all their picks for Paul George?
Yeah, I think they have like maybe second round picks or like pick swaps, but they're not gonna get a lot from him.
And then what were you saying about that guy? The what player were you talking about?
Oh, Terrence Mann, I think that's the only player that the Clippers have, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and then Zubac. They have those two guys who are, I guess, good pieces, but who knows?
Okay, fine. Now you got to ask yourself if you're the Clippers. First of all, the Clippers are in a very bad position. Okay, they have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard that are arguably not worth much out there in the in the NBA market because who's going to want players that are injury prone, especially Kawhi Leonard? Who? Who's going to want these guys? And they're making crazy amount of money on top of it. Paul George still has some value because I think the Knicks are trying to get him or they were trying to get him. Kawhi Leonard, I think he's done. Um, Now you're going to bring in James Harden, somebody else who's injury prone. Do you think a core of James Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard are going to be? Oh, and then Russell Westbrook's there. Do you think those four can be a threat in the West with the Denver Nuggets and the Lakers? The Lakers made a great comeback. The Lakers are relevant again. So you're telling me with the Denver
Yes,
Nuggets and the Lakers, they can be relevant and a threat? The Clippers?
absolutely. If they don't get injured, and I think the Clippers are just saying, "F it, we're gonna
They're
just."
just going all the way.
They're just saying exactly. They might as well. They're already in deep, and they're saying like, you know what? These guys. What if these guys are not gonna be injured this time? Like only God knows. That's what they're praying for. And if they get lucky where Harden, because look, AD is always injured, but throughout the playoffs he played phenomenal and he didn't go down once, right? That might never happen again. But if they get Harden, yes, they're definitely gonna go. They're gonna be better than the Suns, and I think they could also beat the Lakers because they have two of the best defenders on that team who could also score and do it all. Amazing, top-notch two-way players and Harden, who is a great facilitator, scorer. Well, especially that he's gonna have two other guys in front of him now, and so yeah, that's a great combination to really, I think, contend with the Nuggets and go all the way.
So I'm a fan. I mean, I'm not a crazy fan, but I'm a fan of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And honestly, like I feel bad for the Clippers, man. I feel like they can't catch a break. And it would be nice to see them shine. So I do hope you're right. I hope they get James Harden because I don't want him on the Knicks. I don't want him on the Knicks. But I hope the Clippers get James Harden, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Maybe James Harden takes the load off, so those guys won't be in a position where they could get injured potentially. I don't know. I don't know. But you're right. I think they have to save face. They just got to go all the way in. They already gave up everything. They're not going to get much back for Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. They might as well just go all the way. And I think you're right. I think they're going to do that, especially because they kept Russell Westbrook on the roster. So I think it's going to happen. Speaking of the Phoenix Suns, because you mentioned the Phoenix Suns, that's a team I don't believe in. All right, you get rid of a guy like Chris Paul, a floor general, right? I understand he's not consistent, he's injury prone, whatever. But you get rid of him for Eric Gordon? No, not Eric Gordon. Sorry.
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal?
Well, I think this he did join The Suns also, by the way.
Ironically, right? But Bradley Beal, you're telling me Bradley Beal's an upgrade? You have shooters. You have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. You're telling me you're gonna just add another shooter, and that's gonna a guy who's always injured, by the way, a guy who's making what 50 million a year, and then you have a DeAndre Ayton that sucks, right? So,
I wouldn't say he sucks, but
but he's
he's
not.
not.
Come on, he's not what they thought he'd be.
Yeah, he
So,
mentally he's not there. I think.
right. So maybe he'll do better somewhere else. But you get rid of a guy who controls the floor and distributes the ball for another shooter when they don't even need one. So what? What's their plan? Now their defense went down even more. I don't think what's his name again?
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. Why do I keep forgetting his name? I don't know. Bradley Beal's not a good defensive player, is he?
No,
Right. So
none of them are.
So you're getting rid of and Chris Paul. I think wasn't Chris Paul a better defensive player?
Way better.
Way better.
He's one of the best defensive point
Right.
guards.
So you're getting rid of one of the better defensive players for a guy who doesn't play defense and just shoots the ball and he's always injured. That's your master plan. Come on.
I feel like the new owner's like kid. I think his name is Mad Shiba or Ishiba. I don't know, but I feel like he was playing NBA 2K, and he's like, "Look, Dad, you can make this trade happen."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "All right, yeah, that's a good idea." It's just like who's making this up? It's so silly, and it's so obvious that this is not gonna work. This is Brooklyn 2.0, but I think Brooklyn actually had a better chance
Right.
of winning because they just had better players. Now that you just combined a bunch of shooters on one team who are going to just stand around and wait to get the ball in their hands just to try to score. They have zero depth. They have no point. I think the only point guard they have is Cameron Payne, I believe, who's not bad, but come on, man, they're not going anywhere. I would hate to be a Suns fan.
I know. I think what they're trying to do is they should just fire who's the coach there? Oh, they just hired who did they hire?
I forgot, but they hired somebody.
They just fired Monty Williams for who? Then they got
Monty Williams got a new job also, right?
I know, but the Phoenix Suns hired I think he has a name too. He's a coach with a name.
Should check.
Yeah, check. But they should have gotten Mike D'Antoni with this team. So what's the plan? Just to shoot your way out of the playoffs, way into the finals? Good luck. I don't think it's going to work. They're not even amazing shooters like Golden State Warriors anyway. But yeah, who's the coach? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So there's pressure.
Look, Suns new coach. Frank Vogel.
Frank Vogel. Well, he's actually a defensive-minded coach.
For players that are not defensive players, right?
Yeah, it's like, all right, guys, just here's the ball, whatever, try to score, but these are the defensive schemes we're gonna put.
Didn't you say there was a rumor that Embiid doesn't want to play for Tom Thibodeau if given the opportunity?
Yeah, so hold that thought actually, because I want to say something about the Suns. I think I made like a TikTok or maybe it was on the podcast where I was saying that, and people are getting at me for this, but I was saying that Devin Booker he had like a monster game versus the Nuggets. I forgot it was like what, game 3 or something like that. And where I think they actually won, and I was saying that he had to have that similar type of game every single game to have a chance to win. And the people are like, oh, he has an incredible playoff run, which he did. True shooting percentage is like 74%, which is like insane. And guess what? He had a bad, like a poor game, which was and they lost because it's so obvious time and time again that you keep putting shooters together, guys who just all they do is score, with a team that is not a team that has no one, no surrounding pieces that will help them actually win, and you're gonna lose in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
yeah, about Embiid, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying there's a rumor that he doesn't want to play for Tom Thibodeau if given the opportunity.
Yeah, so first of all, I don't know why. I know we just discussed this, but I don't know why Harden wants to leave out of nowhere. Maybe he thinks the team's not going anywhere, and I agree. But I think that kind of stopped them from getting more pieces, surrounding pieces to help them. They could have traded Tobias Harris for maybe a couple role players. I don't know. But yeah, Embiid's definitely gonna want to leave, or they're gonna obviously trade him. Um, and he doesn't want to play for Tom Thibodeau. That's the rumor because Tom Thibodeau's a tough coach. You got to grind. You got to play defense. There's high expectations.
Well, if
But he's
that
connected to Leon Rose from the CA, and I think that was his former agent. So I think there's a good chance that actually the Knicks might land Embiid.
well, I wanted Embiid. I think that would help us go to the next level. But if he's not like a hardworking player where he doesn't want to play for Tom Thibodeau and play his style of defense, then I don't want him on the Knicks. And that just goes to show you what's Phoenix going to do with Frank Vogel if they don't have that desire to play defense, So, um, whatever.
I think ultimately, though, Embiid will come to the Knicks if Harden is traded, or at least the Knicks will be in the running. And he's been pretty stable when it comes to injuries. And I think that if you have another two guys that could really score consistently, I'm talking about Brunson, Randall. I don't know if Randall's going to still be around with Embiid, but if he is, Randall could also score. So Embiid's not going to have that pressure on his shoulders to always be that guy and score, especially because he's still the number one guy with Harden on the team. So that's a lot to handle, especially when it comes to the playoffs, being defense, that anchor. But he still is relatively young, so I don't know why he's complaining. If he's a superstar, that's what superstars have to do. They have to play strong defense and be those game changers.
Yeah. What do you think about Chris Paul joining the Golden State Warriors? And surprisingly, I'm shocked that Draymond Green got a 4-year, 100 million, is it? Or $100 million
Yeah,
deal?
yeah,
I'm shocked
too.
because he's declining. He wasn't the same these past couple of years. I was thinking, oh, he wants to get paid. He's definitely not going to get paid from Golden State. And next thing you know, they sign him for that monster contract. So, what do you think of that?
They honestly had no choice because he's actually the life and soul of that team. And at first I was like, yeah, this is a stupid trade. I mean, a stupid signing. Maybe they could have paid him a little less, but I think he's the actual captain of the team, despite, Steph Curry being as talented as he is. And he's that voice, and he's such a good ball distributor also that he is like that oil, what's that like phrase, that oil machine, that oil wheel that keeps the engine
I hear
going.
you. Yeah.
So it would be very hard to replace him, and I think they kind of like looked at it and they had no choice. But them flipping Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, that's interesting. I don't think that they're gonna go all the way because Klay Thompson's done. He's not gonna. I mean, do you think he might have a resurgence in his career in terms of like shooting and scoring? I don't know.
So, here's the thing I agree with you with Draymond Green, even though I was shocked. I do agree with you. They pretty much had no choice because to get a guy who's defensively minded and the heart and soul of the team, um, I think they're pulling like a Clippers. They have no choice, so they're doubling down, and I think they're in a better position than the Clippers as of now. Uh, but Golden State Warriors, right? Getting Chris Paul, I actually like them getting Chris Paul versus Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole was lost in the playoffs. He just didn't own up to that contract that he got. You know what I mean? And Chris Paul is a veteran. He's a leader. He's probably going to come off the bench, but you need a guy like that on the team. Will that make them go to the next level? No. I think they're done. And I think Klay Thompson is just declining. He'll still put up some numbers. He'll still have some good games, but I think Golden State came to an end. That era came to an end. Unless they really get creative like the Lakers. Because I feel like it's something about that organization.
The Lakers?
They have the magic touch. Like I thought they were goners, and then they make these, last minute trades, and they become relevant again. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell wasn't exactly what they hoped, but it was very impressive that at one point they weren't even in the play-in tournament. Then they somehow managed to get into the play-in tournament, fight their way into the playoffs,
Get to the second
go
round.
to they were in the third round.
Oh, the third round, right.
They went all the way to the third round. Yeah, they got swept, but it was still impressive.
It was pretty impressive.
And they kept Reeves. I give them props. Definitely keep Reeves. They had no choice but to keep D'Angelo Russell. I think they're going to try to flip him, but they did the right thing to re-sign him. And who else did the Lakers get? Am I missing?
They got Gabe Vincent from Miami.
Gabe Vincent.
Major.
Yeah.
I think Gabe Vincent should get Miami like some commission for that signing.
Who?
Miami.
Gabe Vincent was a great pickup. Definitely won't hurt the team. But yeah, the Lakers are just very creative with what they do, and Golden State needs to get that creative somehow. They have to perhaps maybe trade a Klay Thompson,
Well,
or an Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, but Andrew Wiggins also kind of he wasn't there for a while last season. I don't think he played as well in this playoffs as he did last year. But Chris Paul is known to also make teammates better, especially the younger ones like Kuminga, Moses Moody. I think those guys are gonna definitely improve a lot. And Chris Paul is gonna be so great off the bench. He's actually gonna. I think he's gonna help them more than he would help the Suns by being a starter. But they're still missing, I think, that other piece that could go like
Just
give them a solid 15 minutes and put up like kind of like a DiVincenzo who played really well.
Oh, they lost DiVincenzo.
Yeah,
To the
I
Knicks.
think they really have to shore up their bench a little bit. They don't really have any big men, but I think they were right by keeping Draymond Green.
Right.
He still brings that. At the end of the day, you see defense wins. He still brings that defense, that passing ability.
But listen, honestly, I'm gonna say it right now. My prediction, I've made some predictions and videos that didn't age well, but I will tell you this: way before I made a video, it was like an attempt to start this NBA Sesh movement. I didn't even know what the name of the channel would have been. It wasn't even a podcast style. I was doing like a video blog. And I did a prediction, which I'm going to make that video live again. But I made a prediction about the Brooklyn Nets. So when they first got Kevin Durant and Kyrie, I made a prediction saying that team will be trash. I explained why. I said the Knicks are going to be in a much better position in a few years than the Nets, and that team is going to fall apart. And that video actually, for a video that I don't even implement into this movement, and
that was a W take.
That was a W take, and it was actually very accurate. So I'm going to make it live, and I'm going to share it on TikTok. But I am going to make a prediction about the Western Conference, and I think we're going to see the Denver Nuggets and the Lakers in the third round again.
Denver Nuggets and Lakers. Well, let's just hope Game Vincent. Let's just hope Game Vincent doesn't become like a Kendrick Nunn, because I feel like anytime they get any kind of those like role players or shooters that do really well, because Kendrick Nunn did well in the Miami Heat also a few years ago. They signed him. He had some knee injury, and that's it. You didn't hear from him again. Malik Beasley, the Bucks just picked him up. Watch him be such a better shooter on the Bucks than the Lakers. For some reason, when they sign guys that are supposed to be like decent and give them production value, they don't. So I don't know if Gabe Vincent is gonna be able to like play the same way like he did, and he's not even a great shooter to begin with. Um, but they even with Golden State, man, they don't have no one has an answer for the Joker. This guy's
Yes.
unstoppable.
Yes, but you're forgetting one thing. The Nuggets lost a very important player,
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown. Now, if Bruce, so some people think, oh, come on, it's just one guy. Listen, that guy could make or break, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. With the Boston Celtics championship team in 2008, was it 08?
Yeah.
It was 08. With the Boston Celtics championship team, after that, they lost James Posey, and they haven't won since. You could argue,
Yeah, but you could also argue like they were older.
yeah. No, listen, I'm not saying the Nuggets are out, but that player leaving doesn't help them. And the Lakers picking up Gabe Vincent could help them. So you don't know, right? I
That's
don't
true.
know who's going to be in the finals in the West, but I think we will see the Nuggets and the Lakers because I still think the Nuggets will be great. I think they'll both be in the third round. Phoenix, forget about it. Clippers, forget about it. Yeah,
Unless they're not injury prone.
even if they are, man, I just don't see them getting past the Nuggets or the Lakers. Just don't see it.
Well, I'm not even hating on the Lakers as much
Unless
as
the Lakers are injured. Yeah.
yeah, as much as I want to hate on the Lakers, I'm not hating on them. But I think also for D'Angelo Russell, he is number one. He's only on a 2-year deal, and I feel like this is a make or break season for him. So I think he's gonna play his
Two-year deal.
2-year deal. Yeah, I think the second deal is a player option, but still, I think he's gonna play his heart out. Also, he's gonna actually be on the team for the full season instead of getting traded halfway. So if he plays well, he'll be the key. If he plays well and Reeves might be getting better, then they're gonna. I think they definitely have a chance. But you need a big man to kind of control the Joker, and the Lakers don't. You know, AD couldn't stop him. Golden State definitely doesn't have a guy like that.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I can't just think of any other team in the West and in the East. First of all, I want to say the Knicks. I can't believe they traded away Obi Toppin. I'm gonna miss him, but they got DiVincenzo. I think that's a great pickup. We need more scoring. Plus, he's reunited with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, and that's all about chemistry. All about chemistry. So they might have that chemistry. They might play flawlessly together. Um, but I don't think the Knicks are gonna make it to the third round unless they make a very significant change. Um, for the third round, I think I'm seeing. Hmm. I ooh, I think Milwaukee will be in the third round, if healthy, of course. And I don't know about Miami, man. Like again, it's too early to say.
Miami's always a
It
toss up.
really it depends on Miami and the New York Knicks because if Miami gets
Well, the
Dame
Celtics.
Lillard or something like that. So the Celtics, I don't know. They got Porzingis. Porzingis is injury prone. If he could stay healthy, but they missed out. They lost out on their heart and soul of the team, and that's Marcus Smart. You know what I mean? I know they had to shake things up, but they don't even really have a true point guard. You know, so it's too early to say in the East, and perhaps it's too early to say in the West as well because look at the Dallas Mavericks, right? They re-signed Kyrie Irving, even though he brought them down from number 4 to
Yeah,
like
that was
number
crazy.
11, but they had no choice. They had to keep him, just as we said. They had to keep him. They're going to probably trade him in January when you could trade players. And anybody is better than having Kyrie Irving. They just have to hope that he stays healthy. And that's it. Because there's no way, unless there's a miracle where they spark a chemistry and they play flawlessly together, him and Luka Doncic, which I highly doubt. But the Knicks should also keep an eye out on that situation because that would be great if Luka becomes available and the Knicks can snatch him. That would be awesome. Um,
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I would have bet that Kyrie ends up on the Lakers,
Oh
but
yeah.
I guess I don't know. He just well, Dallas couldn't afford to lose him because if they lost him, they would definitely have nobody.
Listen.
Who would they get to replace? Oh, I mean, I guess they would get Russell, which I think would have been a better fit for them.
So first of all, Dallas says that they're not going to help the Lakers by giving them Kyrie, and this was before free agency, right? I think they're just talking shit, man. Honestly, because what's going to happen is this: Kyrie is most likely not going to do well with Luca. He just signed that contract because they had his bird rights. They helped each other temporarily. They probably both know this unless they even discussed it out in the open. I mean, behind closed doors, I should say. Kyrie's not going to stay. Uh, the Dallas Mavericks would be silly not to trade him to the Lakers. They could get those two picks, the protected pick from 2017, 2027, and the 2029 pick. Very valuable picks. And yes, maybe they don't want D'Angelo Russell, but you know what? You do need a point guard to replace Kyrie, or you do a three-team trade, or you flip them, whatever you want to do. But you do it, and then the Lakers, I believe, will be terrible in 2027 and 2029.
Especially 2029.
They will be terrible because LeBron, AD, those guys are not going to be there. That team is not going to be assembled until then. So that's the way to go for Dallas Mavericks. And yeah, and the time flies. Look, we're already in July. These 2 months are going to fly by. NBA 2K is going to come out again. We're going to be smelling the season approaching us. And can't believe it, but Kobe Bryant is on the cover of NBA 2K. He was named to be on the cover. I think the last time Kobe was on NBA 2K cover was 2K what? 11, 2K10, right?
It was 2K10.
I think
I
it
thought it was
was.
recent.
Nah,
Nah,
I'm telling you.
it had
I
to be more
remember
recent than that.
I remember because there was a commercial about what's the
Didn't they put him on the cover when he?
of Spike Lee playing the game, and he loves doing the custom mode where you trade players.
Yeah, how do you remember that?
Yeah. And Kobe, there was even a cover with Kobe wearing a Knicks jersey.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
didn't
So
they put him on the cover when he that the season after he passed away?
maybe I gotta
Maybe
check.
they made like a special one.
Maybe, but I don't know. I think we would have remembered that. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited that Kobe Bryant's on the cover. Kobe Bryant, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I think he's arguably my favorite player of all time, even though I know Michael Jordan's the best player of all time. And real quick, I know this is like jumping around, unless you have some comments about Kobe on the cover of 2K, and then I'll say something else.
I mean, I feel like 2K is just getting, is so repetitive. I want them to bring back the Redeem Team versus the what was the other team name? The Dream Team versus Redeem Team.
Yeah.
That was the best 2K ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kobe is my favorite player just because he wasn't expected to be, he didn't have this hype like LeBron had or Wemby, even Jordan. Like he came up from the ground up to become one of the best players ever. And that is something that's like so incredible to me. And that's why I think he's one of the best and my favorite.
Yeah. So, we have a history of NBA 2K between us, and you mentioned back in the day, even during the NBA Live days and NBA 2, when we made that switch to 2K, we used to pick random teams and we would play. We would have like a 7 game series of whatever it was, which was fun. And then it transitioned to all star teams, I think, and then finally in NBA 2K12 they had the dream team versus the redeem team, and it was so much fun to play that because I started out as the dream team, you started out as the redeem team, and then we would just have the 7 game series, and then we'd swap teams. There was times you won the series, then I won the series with both teams. And what I loved about that is when you play with the dream team, you have one style of playing, And then when you're the Redeem team, you have to completely change your style of playing, completely different team. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun getting to the adjustments. We had fun playing it. We had fights playing
A
it.
lot of fights
A lot of
and
fights, a lot of yelling at each other and getting pissed off. But unfortunately, they never brought that dream team back. And now they do have. We're actually stuck on NBA 2K1, 2K21. Which one are we stuck on?
yeah.
Right?
No,
Because
2K22.
2K22.
No,
No,
2K21. Yeah.
2K21.
We also haven't played for like 2
It's
years.
not that. It's not even that because even when we did play, we transitioned to teams that are all-time greats.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter if we have the new 2K, honestly. We
Well, some of the teams would be some of the greats would be adjusted.
right. So maybe we'll get the new one, especially if Kobe's on the cover. But what we've been playing, we did a lot of all-time greats where I was Sacramento, you were the Knicks, and we had some nice battles. But you finally picked the team I could not beat. I just could not beat this team. You were the Lakers, the all-time great. And of course, having them is like borderline cheating because there's so many amazing legends on that team. You don't even know who to play. There's
Yeah.
too many good players. And I finally got close to beating you with the all-time greats of the Houston Rockets, but I still couldn't. And then I finally found the team that could beat them, and that was the all-time great of Golden State Warriors. But then you adjusted your lineups, and then you started beating me. And again, that resulted into more fights. And finally, I did some tweaking with my lineups. And then I finally came up with the perfect lineup. Perfect lineup that you just can't beat. And now you're challenging me. Otherwise, you're saying that we should play again. You could beat me. So what I want to do is I want to stream this for us, for the fans, and I don't know if we should do it on Twitch or on YouTube, wherever we're going to do it. We're going to broadcast it everywhere after. But yeah, I think we should do Lakers all-time greats versus the Warriors all-time greats and see who wins.
Well, are you gonna share who was in your lineup? Because first of all, I had a lot of times to think about, my style of play and
We
who
should talk
who I
about this
used.
right now. We should talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is all like a whole different podcast, but since you brought it up, so obviously, you have I had so on the team they had Shaq, LeBron, Kobe, Kareem. Who else was there? Jerry,
Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and then there's the other guy with the glasses.
Wait, you said Will Chamberlain?
Oh,
Kareem?
Will Chamberlain. I said Kareem, and there's another guy. I forgot his name.
Pau Gasol's in there.
Pau
Even
Gasol.
though I don't think you use them, do you?
No, not as much. Actually, yeah, sometimes.
Of course, LeBron.
There's
Derek Fisher. No, I'm kidding.
no.
There's another guy. We forgot his
There's
name.
another classic. I forgot his name. He's like.
But who's your main go-to guy?
Kobe?
Kobe. Do you have an X factor?
So yeah, I want to say LeBron, but Jerry West is also a great shooter. He's also one of the best, but you see, it's different when it comes to Golden State Warriors. So why don't you explain what your lineup is?
So
It's just no. Listen, sorry, it's just hard to guard. It's hard to defend, like on joysticks. Like I can't use Shaq as much because even though he's the best big man ever, and then I have Kareem. You're just running around and just shooting threes with Curry, so it's like very hard to actually defend.
stop. It's not that simple because if it were that simple, I wouldn't have to make lineup changes, right?
And also you have KD also. You have KD who only played there for how many seasons? 4?
Okay.
So I guess he counts, yeah.
And he got them 2 rings, so yeah. But here's the thing. I remember actually there was another team I got close beating you, all-time great Miami Heat. But the problem with the Miami Heat was my bench couldn't survive the.
The onslaught.
Right. So finally, I had enough firepower with the Golden State Warriors. And with the Golden State Warriors, I had to make. There was times where it was kind of like Jeremy Lin on Linsanity, right? It was good. People didn't know what to expect, but when they finally watched tape and they caught on, they knew how to stop them. Same thing. You caught on, you knew how to stop me after a while, right? So I'd beat you, then you'd finally stop me. Then I'd make a tweak. Then you'd beat me. I'd win. Then you'd beat me again, and I'd have to make another tweak. But I finally came to the perfect lineup. So this is my lineup: Steph Curry, starting point guard, of course. Klay Thompson, shooting guard. Small forward. Who do I start again? Oh,
Brent Barry,
no. Mitch Richmond.
Mitch Richmond.
Yeah, Mitch Richmond. Okay. Uh, then,
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Magic Johnson.
oh, that's who you forgot to mention. Yeah.
There's another guy I forgot, but Magic Johnson, and he is actually the guy I use less because I can't keep up with Steph Curry, so that's why everything's kind of like out of whack. Sometimes I use him as a power forward though, because he's like he's 6'9", but he's also fast.
Okay. So going back to what I was saying. So Mitch Richmond, small forward. Power forward. And again, this is so many different adjustments because these players would come off the bench sometimes. Power forward, Kevin Durant. Okay. I had Kevin Durant coming off the bench at one point, but now he's my starting power forward. And then, of course, Nate Archibald. No, not Nate. Will Chamberlain as my center. Backup. Center, Nate Archibald. Power forward, Draymond Green. Small forward, and this guy. So Steph Curry is my best player. He's my go-to player, but my best X factor is, and I'll put him in the last 2 minutes of the game, even though he's not starting, Chris Mullin. All right. Chris Mullin is clutch. He could hit at that three for me. Shooting guard.
That's the thing. They all hit. They all shoot threes. Even the old Warrior
But
players.
you can't guard them all. You're always like double teaming Steph Curry and all that. But shooting guard, I put Tim Hardaway, senior, obviously, and then Baron Davis is my starting as my backup point guard. Baron Davis, what I love about him, he could shoot the three. He's not necessarily a 3-point specialist, but I also love that he could drive in and just poster any of your guys.
No,
all right.
any of them. Let's not get into.
Unfortunately, first of all, I'm not good with this player, even though he's one of the best of all time. I'm not that good with him on 2K, and there's just no room for him, quite frankly. Rick Barry. I'm sorry, but
say Rick Barry's one of the best ones.
they're saying he's one of the best ones. Like I can't have him on my lineup.
The guy, so the guy, I forgot his name. Was James Worthy. I use him a lot also.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I kept saying Nate Archibald. That's a point guard. Yeah, his name is Nate Thurmond. Sorry. But go ahead.
That's the center, Thurmond.
Yeah, that's who I was talking about. I kept saying Archibald. But go ahead.
Wasn't he from the Sacramento?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I forgot about James Worthy. So this is my lineup that I used a lot of times. I didn't use Shaq a lot of because it was hard to adjust like the speed to your guys, but I used also Will Chamberlain and Paul Gasol.
My Will Chamberlain is better than your Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's another thing. So I used either Paul Gasol or Will Chamberlain as
But you have so many more
center.
big men than I do.
That's the thing. I have too many big men, and I don't have enough shooters.
Kobe,
yeah, but he can't do it all. He can't. You can't put Kobe versus the all-time great
Jerry
Lakers.
West.
It's hard enough to stop Steph Curry, and we also don't realize how great Steph Curry is. Like he's one of the best, the top 10 maybe players or whatever.
Yeah, I think like for some reason Steph Curry just doesn't get that respect as one of the all-time greats. I feel like we don't really look at him like that, but until recently, until people really put in my head, like, why isn't he in that conversation? I'm like, you know what? Maybe, yeah. I think we have to wait for him to retire. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think he is arguably one of the greats.
Even this last playoff series, he had such an incredible series. Like he actually had to put the team on his shoulders.
And he single-handedly changed the league.
Yeah, single hand, exactly. He changed the way basketball is played now. Even he made big men shoot, but first of all, the thing is with 2K, you could like shoot from anywhere and it'll go in. So it's like there's no point in playing defense almost.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
It is. And then like you have a very good everything's in motion and passing a lot, which I guess that's how they play now. So I get that, but like I really have to get super creative to compete. And didn't I beat you before with the Lakers?
Yeah, I mentioned it. That's why I had to tweak my lineups a few times.
Sometimes I put LeBron James as point guard because he's fast and
Now
strong.
you've beaten me in some. I don't remember if you won a 7-game series against me with that lineup. Maybe you did. I don't remember, but you've beaten me in games with that lineup. But that's why I don't. We should refresh our memories.
This is the lineup. I'm gonna adjust this lineup. I'm gonna put Jerry West as a point guard.
That's your starting.
This is gonna be my starting lineup. Jerry West is my point guard. Kobe Bryant is my shooting guard. There's no question about that. Small forward, I'm gonna put LeBron James. Power forward. Oh, I actually used to use Kareem a lot at center because he's also more. He's faster.
Right.
He's better. For power forward, I'm gonna put Magic Johnson, and then for center, I'm gonna put Kareem. And then my bench, they say Goodrich is also one of the best. He played in the 70s. So I'm going to put Goodrich as a point guard, Shaq as a center, Pau Gasol as the 4, Elgin Baylor as a shooting guard, and James Worthy as the small forward.
Hmm. Yeah, I like my chances more. I'm not impressed, but we'll see.
We will see. I might have to have Magic Johnson come off the bench. I know that's like blasphemy to a lot of people, but we're playing
Well,
the Golden State
it's not your
Warriors
fault
here.
because yeah, you have to go up against Steph Curry, and yeah, maybe. I mean, Magic Johnson was fast, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
It's really a tale of two cities type of thing because it's like you have the greatest like mid-range and post players ever, and then you have the greatest shooters.
Right. That ever played the game. Yeah. Okay. The only thing I was gonna say, besides this 2K thing, because we're talking about so many games here, but when you were mentioning about Phoenix acting like they're playing 2K by trading for Bradley Beal, yeah, that feels like I'm playing 2K, for example. And you know when you play chess, you blunder. I feel like I'm just playing 2K for so long. I blundered. I'm like, yeah, why not? Let me try. Let me try. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I got Bradley Beal on my team. Let's see where this goes. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's exactly how that felt.
Yeah, it's kind of like you kind of already get bored of playing your file, so you're just like, ah, you know what? Let me try to get. Now you have like 4 superstars, quote
Yeah.
unquote, on your team, and no one else. I think if they try to flip Aiden for maybe a couple, I don't know. They just signed like a bunch of role players, but dude, they have like no depth. It's like if one guy sits on the bench or one guy gets injured and two of them are on the bench, it's over.
You know, it's a shame that 2K didn't come out yet because what I'd like to do, and I don't know if I want to buy 2K22, 23.
24, you mean?
No, no, but 24 is not out yet.
Oh,
But what I'd like to do is simulate that new Phoenix team and see where they go in the playoffs, you know? just to see what the computer thinks.
Well, who comes out with the when they like predict the records? Because they're pretty accurate. Is it ESPN?
Yeah.
They're pretty accurate with that. Well, they were wrong against the Knicks twice.
Right. Because they hate the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't know why they do hate them.
ESPN, there's a conspiracy. They hate the
They
Knicks.
love LeBron
Oh, yeah.
because that's the only thing that people tune into. Right?
Yeah, that's about it. I think there was a comment I wanted to address from our past video, but can't think of it. I think it was wasn't there somebody that got on us about why would there be two teams coming into the league and you can't just switch a team from the Western to the Eastern Conference or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
I think you could. Like Memphis Grizzlies, I see them becoming an Eastern team if you're bringing two Western teams.
Yeah, they're like
Because they're like the closest one.
Yeah, even Minnesota's pretty close.
Or you could, yeah. There are no rules in that.
Exactly. So
yeah, that's all. But other than that, all right. So Avi, it was fun. Until next time.
right.
Until next time.